my fellow Americans, this is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington. What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 54 of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. What's happening, people? How are you digging your quarantine? Are you going as batshit crazy as I am? Because I've lost my damn mind already. I am, totally not prepared for this shit. I'm a person that likes to be outside the house, and having me in the house just consistently is wrong. And granted, I've been working out from home, but I like to work out in the gym. So I will say, by the time this quarantine is done and people who haven't seen me in a while, they're going to be like, nigga, did you just get out of prison? Because I'm going to be built prison swole. I've been doing sit-ups and push-ups more than I've ever done in my entire life. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a minimum of 100 sit-ups and 100 push-ups a day. And I just want to go outside and be around people. But, due to the whole coronavirus pandemic, you got to stay away from large groups. So what I'm saying is, though, if I can spray you down with Lysol, ladies, you can come to the crib and get some. Anyway, I've been meaning to have this person on the podcast for a very, very long time. Fortunately, for lack of better words, this pandemic slowed both our asses down. You used to see him as the host of Collider Heroes, and he's the host of Collider's comic book shop, and Mr. Coy Jandreau. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? I'm feeling that prison workout fees too, dude. I'm literally running around the post-Armageddon LA doing push-ups. It's weird times, man. I miss people. People.
For real. I'm at the point where I want to, I see people when I go to the grocery store, but it's one of those, literally, you don't hang around the grocery store anymore. You literally get the hell out.
Yeah, it's I acknowledge there's people in gatherings, but I know that's the dangerous shit, but at the end of this, we all better have a fucking Zion rave. I'm ready for that massive matrix orgy. This is fucking messy.
Dude, I've never been to a rave party or done ecstasy, but I guarantee you, when this is all said and done, I'll be around here woo, look at my nipples.
Dude, just sitting in the movie theater is going to feel like Burning Man. Just being around more than 3 people at once is going to feel like a rave. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be bananas. But for those who are new to the podcast, what I do here is to get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universe. This is Barbershop Talk for Nerds. So what that means is we are going to keep it raw and real and honest. We won't just try to blatantly dog a project, a property, a studio. But if something's going wrong that's kind of stupid, we'll talk about it and just be, quite frank with it. Granted, there ain't a lot of shit to talk about, but you all still gonna get this episode. So I'm gonna kick it off as I always do with my Marvel news. And in the biggest Marvel news, as of course, because of COVID-19 and coronavirus, everything in Hollywood has been shut the fuck down. And not just Hollywood, but abroad as well. And how it plays here is Marvel Studios is closed for the foreseeable future. What you think, Coy?
It's insane. It makes sense. It's for everybody's safety. It's for the best. But just reading that headline was the severity of this whole situation really hit, because that's one of the most successful, consistent, and busiest production houses in the world. It's closed.
Right? Nobody ever thought we would hear that. Like you said, understand with the concern and whatnot. But damn, one of the biggest properties going. Yes, Marvel Studios is owned by Disney, but Marvel Studios has been pumping out hit after hit after hit. And if you don't like the movies, then let's just go after this. Box office success after box office success after box office success. Now, granted, Marvel Studios is in no worry of shutting down permanently. Look, they've had billion-dollar movies hand over fist. But it's just weird to know that now Black Widow has been pushed back and it has no release date. I talked about that on the last episode. You know, Sebastian Stan even said he don't know when they're going to get back to shooting Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, the only advantage with all this, per se, is that we are going to get WandaVision because it was done.
Mm-hmm.
So WandaVision was done, so we might get that sooner than expected.
What I think they're going to be able to do is they're going to look at all the footage they have, and this might be a blessing in disguise. They'll be able to be like, oh, we've got time to tweak this shot. Like, we can work on the CGI here. We can, reshape the story here for the unfinished shows. And then WandaVision either getting it on time, maybe getting it early, but either way, I mean, editors are stuck at home, man. Like, I guarantee people are working remotely. So I feel like the shows that have the footage, the things that are already in the can, are going to be better than ever. And I'm hoping, since I'm an optimist, that the things that are like half finished, maybe there's some epiphanies that happened in this crazy lockdown, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, and also the fact when we talk about the new Disney Plus Marvel shows, these all are interconnected and woven into the movies. So, like, you can't just randomly say, well, we got 6 episodes out of 8, let's just run with it. You can't, because there's a pivotal part of the story that you're going to miss. And also, I think the order in which they come out, too, plays a major factor. Granted, I would love for them to just be like, look, WandaVision is here, let's go, boom. But there's a reason each of these shows were scheduled to come out when they're scheduled to come out.
I'm 80% sure that Doctor Strange is a sequel to WandaVision, like a direct sequel.
I believe it.
Sure.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They need to have those tight. They need to have those, like, you don't want WandaVision to come out a year and a half before Doctor Strange 2, because you're going to need that connection. So I think everything has been very carefully, placed here, there, everywhere. And if Doctor Strange 2 can't start filming, they're not going to want to put out WandaVision and have it be 3-4 years till they get the sequel.
Yeah, because I've also said this, and this is my heart of hearts believing. When they said what WandaVision is, and then I heard what Doctor Strange is, I strongly believe that the bad guy in Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness is going to be the Scarlet Witch. It is not Wanda Maximoff. This is how she finally becomes Scarlet Witch, through WandaVision, and I think she's the bad guy.
I agree. I also think the madness of the multiverse is because of the events, like we're both saying, of WandaVision. But
Yep.
I think Vision is never... I think Vision stays dead, and the Vision we see in all these promo shots is only in her mind.
Oh, yeah,
So
everything's in her mind.
Yeah, so once she realizes that's what shatters the reality, Doctor Strange is the one that has to put it back together. Like, the madness of the multiverse is dealing with the madness of Scarlet Witch. Like, that's what he's going to be reassembling. So you can't have that event, that schism, take place in 2020, and you can't film Doctor Strange till 2022, then what, 2024 rolls around? Like, this is going to affect the next 10 years of cinema. Marvel, DC, everything. The Batman, we'll get to that. But, like, right now, it's a TV show. Like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is serialized. It's a show. You can't have an episode 7 come out before 6. So you got to, release this shit proper. I've heard Black Widow, because it's a flashback, obviously she's dead, spoiler alert, is not as big of a ramification for the rest of Phase 4, but I guarantee you there's a post-credits scene. I guarantee you there are Easter eggs that tie into the rest of the stuff. They wouldn't make a movie that completely sidelines the rest of the universe, so they're in a really tricky spot timing-wise.
Well, I think I agree with that because of who the Taskmaster is, what his abilities are, the suit of the Red Guardian. I think to introduce Yelena as the new Black Widow going forward, I think all these things play a pivotal role. I do agree about, it will affect cinema, but I disagree about 10 years. And here's why. Marvel will go into hyper production once all this is said and done. They have the movie and the resources to do so. So imagine once all this is given almost the all clear pretty much. Remember, Falcon and Winter Soldier right now is filming in Prague. So once Europe gets the clear, boom, Marvel's like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where these places are shooting and filming, once it's good to go, Marvel's going to kick it into overdrive. Because remember, Shang-Chi is filming, but it's been put on hold. The Eternals, I'm not sure if it's done yet, or maybe just in post-production, but think about it, it'll still come out. By the time it's set to come out the end of the year. So the Eternals is not working.
That's one that's going to benefit. I think the Eternals is going to benefit because you're going to have more time to play with the post. Like, that's going to be one that I think it'll still come out in November, but I think people working at home right now and the Eternals is going to make that one better. I'm only worried about scheduling because you can have all the production you can have all those people, but like actor schedules are they're locked into other movies. There's contracts with other studios. I'm sure Marvel has priority, but they can't straight up like steal them from other things. So my only worry is movies scheduled to shoot. Like Thor 4 is basically another Avengers movie. It's got Guardians in it. It's got all those people. If they've got to push Pinewood to not be able to shoot Thor 4 when it's supposed to because of another property, how are you going to get all the Guardians and Taika and Chris? Like, that's a lot. So my only worry about the ramifications of this is, like, everything shifting some for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that one. I forgot about that because I do believe that Marvel holds a priority. I do believe that, and I do also agree that a lot of these actors want to be able to do side projects that's not superhero related.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to expand on their talents and their craft. As an actor myself, and as actors you are as well, we both understand that. We both understand that you don't want to just be pigeonholed into the same thing. Like, for instance, for me, I don't just want to do comedy. Granted, I've been fortunate enough to do some dramatic, in a sense, roles, but I want to expound on that. And yeah, I will still do comedy, so stuff like that. But I get it, And speaking of Black Widow, so one of the big questions in Black Widow's casting was who would Ray Winstone be playing? Well, it's finally revealed. He is going to be Dreykov. Now, for those who remember the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, I know Coy remembers it because Coy remembers every goddamn thing. Dreykov was mentioned by Loki when he called her Dreykov's daughter. I was reading this article and I agree with it. I don't think Dreykov is directly Natasha Romanoff's father. He is her father in the sense that he is the man who was responsible for the Red Room where she was trained. Thoughts?
Totally agree. I think it's that metaphorical father. I think it's an abusive father in the sense of the Red Room is his baby, and anyone that comes out of the Red Room is his baby in a very dark sense. So I don't think we're going to actually meet any of her real family as her adopted family. It's just like we've seen in those, the funny around the table scene. I see Black Widow as very much like the Joker. The less we know about her origin, the more interesting she is. So I hope everything's more abstract. I hope everything's more, metaphorical, because I think it's her metaphorical father. It's the father of the Red Room.
Yeah, I agree with that, because, of course, Taskmaster takes over the Red Room later on when she comes back, so that's the thing. We brought up the Eternals earlier. Now, again, we don't know if it may possibly be finished with principal photography, but the Eternals is said that it may feature the sinking of Atlantis and potentially introduce Namor. I am cool with that. However, my belief, and I still stand by this, that we should actually introduce Namor in Black Panther 2. The reason being, in the scene from Avengers Endgame, there was an underwater earthquake. Did you take care of it? Yeah, it was an earthquake underwater. It took care of itself. I think that's where that fit in.
I think you can introduce Namor you can introduce him softly in Eternals, and then have the actual character presented, actually exactly like Black Panther. We had a great Black Panther introduction in Civil War, then we got a Black Panther movie. I'd love to see less screen time, like 5 minutes of Namor in the Eternals, because he's, the first mutant. He's been around forever. He fought alongside Cap in World War I and World War II. We can have that Namor. We can have, the introduction of the actor, and then have him show how he doesn't age by having him in Black Panther 2. I think it's a great opportunity to show the gravitas of Namor by having him be in a past tense and a present tense movie back to back.
So check this out. You just brought up a great point. He did fight alongside Captain America in the comics. Do you think that we may see a resurgence of one of the characters from his squad in Captain America First Avenger? That the secret behind one of them is that they were actually Namor?
I don't think it'll be Namor, but I could totally see Atlanteans being planted throughout the Phase 1 movies. I don't think we'll get Namor himself, because I want to see Daniel Day-Karen Man so bad. But I do think we'll get Atlanteans, or maybe, a tie-in through the Eternals that way. And I think the style of filming the Eternals is a great way to start to, loop in. Obviously, that's a big Phase 4 kickoff. You're going to want some ties to the beginning. So I think the way Eternals is going to be shaped is going to allow for that. And with the scope of that film taking place over thousands of years, I think it'd be a smart move, because that movie's hella not approachable. That's a really weird movie, so people are going to need things to be like, oh, I know what that is. I feel like I know what's going on.
Yeah, because especially with it being what Kevin Feige said, tens of thousands of years the movie's going to span. And that is, when we hear that, that is an immense feat. But at the same time, we're talking about Marvel. We've watched what they've done going through time, in a sense. And granted, I know people are like, well, it's tens of thousands. I can see the way this plays out. The intro of the movie is the beginning of the whole thing with the Eternals, the Deviants, and the Celestials, and how those, the fallout happens, how Thanos is born. You're guaranteed to see Thanos be born.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of Thanos in Eternals, I assume.
There has to be, because he is an essential part of their story. He's an essential part.
Everyone loves Roland's portrayal. Like, it'd be a shame to not have that.
Right, and he doesn't have to be as massive a Thanos as we saw the Mad Titan himself, come Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. He doesn't have to be that. He could be that teenage Thanos, finally coming to learn, after being bullied so long. Because remember, he was bullied, which in terms made him become a serial killer, a mass murderer.
Yeah, we can see the, Titan go under. We can see, the fragments of what we saw briefly in Endgame. We can see all those things. So, Infinity War and Endgame as a 1-2 punch. We have moons being thrown. We have full cosmic madness. I think audiences are ready for 10,000 years of Eternals, but I think the more we can put in characters they're familiar with, like Thanos, like people from Phase 1, it's going to make it a more comfortable, holy shit, my mind is blown experience.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I agree with you, because I compared this to when Guardians of the Galaxy was first released, and I always will go back to this, because people were like, what, a talking raccoon and a talking tree? Are you serious? Now, the comic book fans knew about it. We were like, yeah, let's do it. Non-comic fans was like, are you fucking crazy? And then we saw it. And then people were like, oh my God, I am Groot. You know what I'm saying? There was so many I am Groots. And people just love Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. I think the thing is now, people are more accepting of what can be weird.
Oh, yeah. I think Guardians was the next thing after Iron Man 1 for importance. Maybe Iron Man 1, then Avengers and Guardians, just because Iron Man showed you could have a serious comic book film in the Marvel Universe and it'd be amazing. And then Avengers was like, wait, we can put 5 movies together into one. And then Guardians was, hey, you don't have to know any of these characters. We can introduce a bunch of characters at once, and you're going to love them within 2 hours.
Also,
Eternals has to do all of that, because it needs to be like, hey, all the characters you love are dead. They're over there now. We're going to introduce you a bunch of new characters, and we're going to cover a lot of mythology. Like, Eternals has a lot of stakes.
Yeah, Eternals covers Greek and Roman mythology, all of this. Again, will we get the introduction of Hercules? There's so much the Eternals can do that it is going to be amazing to see how they put all this together. Like, the fact that we don't even know any of the actual storyline. We just know certain plot points. We know that there's a love triangle going on. We know that we're going to get the first LGBT open representation in it. Like, we know these little things. We don't know the full plot, which is crazy.
I love that we haven't had any footage, man. I know it comes out in November, hopefully. But I love the fact that all we've seen is a couple pre-vid shots. We've seen some costumes. We've seen them walk out the actors on stage and turn them around. But that's all we've got. And I love going into comic movies not knowing shit, because I'm so sick of watching trailers and being spoon-fed most of the movie. This is opposite. It's great.
Well, I think that's a big issue I have no matter what. I agree with you, because we do. You know how you and I have had this discussion, like, yo, that's it. All you need is one trailer. The movie is selling itself. You do not need all these extra trailers. And if you're going to cut extra trailers, cut it out of that one big-ass trailer you sent out already. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to splice extra 30 seconds out of different footage, because now people can take all these trailers and piece the movie together.
Yeah, by the time Age of Ultron came out, I'd seen the damn thing, and I was just watching scenes between the trailer shots. They learned their lesson. I feel like Phase 2 was the worst phase for giving away too much of the trailers. But I feel like they've learned how to shape the narrative so we're still surprised, so we don't know too much, but it still has to sell it. Eternals is going to be the one the trailers have to give the most away, because it's going to be the hardest sell, but I'm really hoping they appeal to comic fans that don't give away plot. They just give away, ooh, shiny, that's cool.
That's what I was thinking, the same thing. They don't give away plot, they just give you stuff of the characters. They show you a little bit of abilities, because you need to know who these people are and what somewhat get involved and get ingrained with what their motivations are. So I can see that happening.
Either way, November, man. Hopefully. Fingers crossed the world stays normal enough.
Hey, man, we'll be good. I'll tell you this. I'll go off track, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know how this is. I keep shit A100. The virus itself, the reason it has been able to spread like wildfire is because it's been cold.
Well, I mean, we've been indoors as hell, so I'm hoping people stay that way even when it's warm, man.
But no. I understand that, but I'm just saying the virus can't live in heat. It has its crown layer has an oily protection. It's not a rubber protection. So this is some biochemistry shit, y'all. It's an oily protection, which means it's not heat resistant. If it was a rubber protection of its crown, hence corona, which is Spanish for crown, it would be able to fight the heat. So when right now it's weird because Los Angeles and California has not peaked with heat yet. Like we should be at the point we have 70-degree days nonstop, but we keep getting these low weathers. So
yeah, it's chilly.
It's really chilly per se. Like for me, this is like, yo, I'm cool with this weather because this is what it would be like in Chicago. But once the weather breaks, it will start to, the spread and whatnot. The spread overall, the 3 feet spread will die down because the virus won't be able to live in the air. You get what I'm saying?
I just hope people are smart, man. I just hope people don't get in, like, if it doesn't need to jump 3 feet and we need to jump 1 feet to or around each other, that's my concern. So I think as long as we keep doing our part, we'll be good. So I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping you're right. Like, fingers crossed for the public. I've seen so much stupidity in the last 2 weeks. So I'm trying to stay optimistic.
Hey, man, I've been telling everybody, people have been optimistic and pessimistic. I've been realistic. People don't give a shit. And because the problem is, you have a group of people you have a brand new generation who's been allowed freedom to go where they want, when they want.
Yeah, dude.
And people are rebellious by nature.
Not listening. Yeah. Well, and, like, the press conferences haven't been clear, and, like, that's a political conversation we shouldn't get into, but, like, it's been a really jarring time to be in this country in particular going, like, wait, you're saying this and you're saying this, what do I do? And then people being like, woo, spring break.
Fuck it all! Well, let's go over to DC news. It's not much, but I got some. So one of the big stories I didn't get a chance to talk about because it dropped after I recorded the last episode, Wonder Woman has officially been pushed back to August. It was set to release in June, but due to safety concerns and the fact that Warner Brothers will not put it out on video on demand, they want it to still be a theatrical experience. It has been pushed back to August. Your thoughts on that, Mr. Jandreau?
Goddamn right. I am not team put everything on streaming. I am not team have it come out early. I am not team New Mutants on Hulu. I am team everything gets a theatrical release. If it was made for the theater, put it in the theater. I believe in the theatrical experience. I love community. I love experiencing movies next to people. I don't think a $250 million budget movie should go on Netflix. I think it can go on Netflix after you've seen it 3 times. I think you can own it on Blu-ray and watch it on your 80-inch TV, but that's not going to be a 200-foot screen. Everyone's saying New Mutants should just come out on Hulu. We've waited 2 years for that movie. We've already been pushed. Wait another fucking year. I want that shit on the big screen. Wonder Woman, we've waited forever for. They've already moved it once. They moved it from 2019 to 2020.
Well, you know why that was, though, right?
It was competing with something else, wasn't it?
No, they wanted to give it a summer release.
Oh, that's right, because it was done. Like, Patty Jenkins was a bunch of times been like, yeah, the movie's done. We should just let it out.
Yeah, it was done. They wanted, because it's a blockbuster movie, and you want to take the best chance you have of getting all that revenue. If you put it out in November, you'll get a nice amount with the holidays, but you won't get what you could get if you do it in the summer.
And there's summer flavor. It's got that big summer movie flavor, and that's what I want. Like, I want to experience it. Like, I love that time of year when every 2 weeks there's another giant spectacle, and everybody's at the theater, and it's hot outside. Like, there's just something great about being in the air conditioning with a bunch of comic fans. I don't know, man. The movie theater is so special to me, so I like August. I'm glad they did it officially. I'm really surprised, to be honest, they didn't launch HBO Max a month early and put Birds of Prey on there. But they might do 2 weeks of VOD so they can get some of their money back with the $20, per.
Well, that's what they're doing. That's why they're doing it, just to recoup this money.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised because HBO Max was supposed to come out in late April, early May, or I think early May. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out a couple weeks early and Birds of Prey is their big ticket item. You know what I mean?
Birds of Prey and Doom Patrol too.
Yep, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Like that's a theatrical one and a TV one. But I'm so glad because they have all that, they're not even thinking about Wonder Woman there because all those rumors made me really scared. I think Wonder Woman should be seen big. It's also a tricky precedent. Like everybody's saying, Black Widow should just come to Disney Plus. No. These are theatrical films. Movie theaters need to live. Like the theater itself itself is an important industry, so streaming can wait. I hope they keep like 4 to 12-week windows. It's usually 12 to 16. I could see it shrinking after the coronavirus. I could see it being like a 4 to 8-week window after this because people are going to be used to streaming more. But personally, I'm hoping we keep at least some theatrical window for these movies.
So I'm glad you brought this up because this brings up a point I've been talking about with friends and other people. I don't know if I've discussed it in depth here on the podcast and shit, but I want to talk to about it with you. I think we as a people, as society, as consumers are responsible for this. Here's why. For the longest, people have been saying, man, they should just drop movies on streaming sites instead of at theaters so people can just watch them at home. People have opened their mouths and made it seem like they want this so badly that now that it's happening, everybody's like, wait, hold up. What do you mean? Just like when everybody said we should cut the cord from cable. Okay, you want to cut the cord? Guess what we'll do? We'll give you streaming services. Then what does everybody say? Wait a minute, there's way too many streaming services. Well, this is what you said you wanted. You see what I'm saying?
And the budgets of it got first, man. Like, you can't, no matter what, you can't make a $200 million superhero movie for streaming. I don't care how many subscribers you got, you need the revenue from the movie theater. So if people really want this, they better expect, and no disrespect to CW, you know I love CW, they better expect CW special effects, not Marvel movie special effects. They better not expect, you know what I mean? So
no, I got exactly what you mean.
Like, streaming's just not as profitable. If you've got 5 people sitting in a room watching on a service that costs $7 a month, that's like $1.25 a human. I don't care what your profits are. If you're seeing a movie for $10, even if the theater takes their 50%, that's $5 for a matinee versus $1.25, and that's over the spread of a month. It's not the same profit margin. It's never going to be.
Yeah, I most definitely agree with you on that. It's just seeing how we as consumers say we want something so much, so badly, that when now the services and the platforms give it to us, we're kind of pushing back from it. And it's like, no, we made this noise. Absolutely, I agree. Going to the theater, look, I tell everybody, my experience going to the theater, seeing both Infinity War and Endgame were two unmatched, experiences. To be in a room, first when we got to go to the press screenings, to be in there with a bunch of journalists, mommy bloggers, and everybody who just gave up their professions for 2.5 hours and enjoyed a movie. You know what I'm saying? Enjoyed a movie. And yeah, there is nothing like it. And then going to see it again with regular fans is still an experience. I just believe we've become so microwave and lazy, in a sense, that we were like, yo, if I can get it at home and I don't have to leave my house, because again, that ties all back into the whole situation with the quarantine, self-quarantine and self-isolation. There's so many people now like, oh, I ain't gotta leave my house. Oh, I'm good? Okay, I've been doing this anyway. I've been wanting not to have to go to work or go out my house. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why I think that the theatrical window is going to shrink. I don't think movie theaters are as dead as some people think, but I do think we're not going to see 3 months between theatrical and streaming. It's going to be like 2. It is going to shrink after this because the amount of people that are expecting it. But I do hope that I hope when we come out of this, people appreciate crowds more. I hope people appreciate the public more. I hope people appreciate going to the movie theater more and going to cons more, because it was assumed. It was regular life. It was day to day. Now it's going to be special again. So I'm hoping that actually bolsters things, because, again, I'm an optimist. I'm hoping it gives a resurgence of movie theater love, not diminishes it. Because I'm the dude that went and saw El Camino and that Michael Bay Netflix movie in theaters. Like, I'm the guy that went and saw the Netflix movies that were already out on Netflix in the movie theater because I believe in the theater so much. Like, I waited to see El Camino till Sunday when I could get to the theater instead of dropping on Friday and watching it at home, and I'm the biggest Breaking Bad fan in the world. So, like, to me, the movie theater experience is like nothing else, and I'm always going to yell that. So, everyone yelling about streaming, I respectfully disagree with you.
You know what? You bring up a great argument. You bring up a very good argument, and I can't even argue with you, because there is a thing about that. There is a thing to the experience, and yeah, sometimes you have Netflix who have to release things theatrically in order for them to qualify for Oscars and Golden Globes and whatnot. And it's just been released that the Golden Globes is now laxing on those rules because of the current situation. So again, with that happening, granted, we're talking about Wonder Woman being in theaters still. Yes. We're talking about, look, David Harbour, I forgot to mention this earlier. David Harbour has said he would not mind having Black Widow come out on Disney+. Yeah.
I love David Harbour, but I disagree.
But it's a big thing. But let's go on to the next story. So Titan season 3. So there is a possibility we are finally going to get a live action Phantasm in Titan season 3. Now, according to my buddy at the Illuminati, they say that there's a new character named Danny that's going to be introduced in the 3rd series. And Danny's being described as a youth who grew up on the wrong side of the tracks, but never lost his belief in heroism. His laid-back persona is balanced by a near genius intellect. I don't know why I'm having trouble talking. He has innate detective skills with a perception of detail that is way beyond his years. And despite his rough upbringing, he's motivated by the opportunity to do good in the world instead of dwelling in the pain and tragedy. Now, it doesn't directly sound like who it is, but it may be. Now, they say they're looking for a Southeast Asian actor about 18 years older to play a 16 to 17-year-old. And he'd be a recurring guest star with either 7 or 13 episode options for the following season. Would you like to see a live action?
That character is Phantasm, but I want Phantasm. I can safely say everything's too vague because that's such a great broad strokes. Like, they give those broad strokes things on purpose so that no one knows who you're playing, including the actor, until they get to do. But goddamn, would I love Phantasm. And they've recently brought Phantasm into the comics. Phantasm is now more involved because they're doing that Batman animated series sequel. I could totally see Phantasm. There's a lot of times the comic book comes out 3 months before to test, fan audience opinion and to, stoke those flames, and that's happening right now. I could easily see Phantasm season 3, and I'd love that shit.
What did you think about Titan season 2?
I liked it, man. I mean, I wanted Nightwing sooner, and they kept trying to give it to me. They fucking they kept being like, "Oh, most maybe not quite. Oh, most sure. Oh, maybe later." So I'm excited for that fucking cock tease to pay off. I'm excited for that season 3. But I dug it. I think it's a very certain tone they've built. So you got to be in the right mood. Like with all the CW shows, I got to be in the right mood for that. I can't just put it on. I got to be like, man, I want Flash. Man, I want Supergirl. And I also love that those are different flavors even within the CW. Watching the Supergirl experience is very different than watching the Flash experience.
Yes, it is.
Teen Titans is another one that's real different than Doom Patrol. So when I'm in the mood, it's my exact shit. If I'm not in the mood, I got to wait.
Let me tell you something. I will rewatch Doom Patrol over and over and over again. If for nobody else, Brendan Fraser and Diane Guerrero.
I can't believe what they got away with, man. That's the one that's probably my most consistent, the most consistent I can watch. And it's a real weird time. And it makes me believe in DC, man. I now have full faith in Sandman because of how weird they've been with their stuff on their own network, and the fact that Sandman is Netflix in DC. We're gonna have a good time with some weird shit.
I always put that on. You know what? Greg Berlanti is just amazing when he comes up with concepts for projects and it's like, yo, we're going to do this. And you don't know behind the scenes how they're going to go about it until you finally see it. And then when you saw Doom Patrol in the first 5 minutes, you saw Brendan Fraser banging the babysitter. You were like, yo!
I was like, oh, wait, they actually made Doom Patrol. I was like, they did the okay, no, they read the comic and they made the oh, fuck, they're doing it.
Right, because it's one of those things you're like, they're not going to do, they are. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
The two of the weirdest creators ever. Grant Morrison and Gerard Way are two of the more out there comic book creators. So, obviously, Doom Patrol is one of the weirder comics. I never expected that to land, but, man, when it did, I was thrilled.
Dude, they got a fan for life out of me. I don't think they can some people are like, well, what if they mess up season 2? I don't think you mess up this formula. What you had is great, and I don't think they'll change. They've become smart. Listen, if it works, don't try to fix it. They made again, I understand some people will say, well, what about Arrow? Arrow had to take its chances. Listen, Arrow got 8 seasons, and had Stephen Amell not decided to leave the series, Arrow was going at minimum 10. I have that confirmed from various close to the project sources. Arrow was going at minimum 10 years. There was never a chance of the CW canceling it.
It was making all that money, getting all those views, and I get why Stephen wanted to step away, but it definitely that was not the plan.
We'll talk once we get done recording this. Let me We'll talk. We'll talk. So speaking of the CW, they have postponed upcoming episodes of their shows due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And production has halted on The Flash, Supergirl, and Batwoman. Also, a couple weeks ago, there was an unfortunate paralyzation of a production assistant on the set of Batwoman. Now, Legends of Tomorrow is supposedly done filming for the season already. So
I don't know how, but hell yeah.
listen, Legends has always been my favorite, one of my favorites, because it doesn't have rules it has to follow. It can be what it wants to be. You know, it can have the silliness. The last episode with bringing back Neil McDonough as Damien Dark, which I'm always a fan of. I love Neil McDonough as an actor. But to watch him play and have so much fun, because remember, season 2, he had fun with the Legion of Doom. Him, John Barrowman, Matt Lesher together, that was great. But in this one episode, you got to see Neil McDonough just let the gloves off. He gets to be serious Damien Dark and then gets to be funny Damien Dark.
I mean, Legends had the unicorn episode, so it's forever like I'm always gonna check in. I'm always gonna be like, let's see what money went to this crazy pipe dream from a comic panel. Like, it's the most like a what if comic. It's the most like random throw stuff at the wall to see what episodes stick, and I respect them. Like, that's a hell of a thing to create because that takes a lot of artists. That's hundreds of crew members to make some really weird shit. So my hat is always off to Legends. And
I definitely agree with the unicorn episode. Changed everything for me about Legends. Like,
it's just like, how does that exist? Like, to this day, how does that exist?
How do you pitch in the writer's room? So, check this out. What if we have a unicorn that's murdering people? Now, not just murdering people, like goring people through the heart. Like, you see just a cavernous hole in their chest. Like, what in the fuck?
Here are thousands of dollars. Greenlit, go.
So, given the fact they're not going to show these episodes upcoming, what will happen, though, is Crisis on Infinite Earths will replace the episodes that are not coming out as of right now. So, if you have not seen the series, you can go to the CW app, but you will also be able to check it out somewhat live as the episodes happen. What'd you say?
Oh, I laughed at the somewhat live because, like, yeah.
Like, it's somewhat live? Like, I guess? I guess? Yeah. So, that is all pretty much I've got for news stories this week. So, right now, because again, there isn't much, but damn it, I'm going to be here to talk. So, right now, I'm going to go to the hotlines, the calls I have to the Mad Titan Podcast hotline. Again, my mouth has been jumbled. 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. And you can email me, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. And I got a call from a caller. I'm going to go to it right now.
How's it going, Jay? This is Tyler calling from Kentucky. 2 questions. Recently, I heard rumors floating around about the possibility of seeing Daredevil or even the X-Men show up in Spider-Man 3. Do you think they'll make their debut there, or can you see them debuting somewhere else? And also, with Black Widow being pushed back and with certain movies like Fast 9 delaying close to a year, do you think Black Widow's release will interfere with the Eternals coming out later this year, or even make 2021 a 5-movie year for Marvel? Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Jay.
All right, thanks, Tyler, again from Kentucky for your call. As always, I appreciate you being a loyal listener and a loyal caller. So first off, do you think that Daredevil or either the X-Men make their debut in Spider-Man 3? Coy, I'm going to let you go first.
No way in hell. I love Kevin Smith. I got hell of love for Kevin. There's no way they're going to introduce Charlie Cox as Daredevil, which is the rumor floating around. And 2, if they're going to introduce a lawyer for Peter Parker, you got to look at the math. You got to look at what's happening in the Marvel Universe. I love the idea on paper because it sounds like the best fan fiction ever, which is, I think, what happened with this rumor. He's going to need a lawyer. He just revealed his identity. That's totally a thing they can do. If they're going to have a lawyer, they're going to use Jennifer Walters. She-Hulk show is coming out on Disney Plus next year. There's no way they're going to introduce not Jennifer Walters as a lawyer. They're already going to have so much complicated storyline to tell. they can't quickly introduce Daredevil in any real viable way, whereas they can have a lawyer that is not yet She-Hulk, named Jennifer Walters, introduce the actress, and then boom, on the She-Hulk show, you find out she's, Bruce's cousin, and then you do the whole origin there, have the actress introduced, if they even do the lawyer route. I don't even know if they're going to go with Peter Parker on trial. That does not seem to be the tone of the Spider-Man movies thus far, but I don't think they'd introduce Matt Murdock. And the X-Men, I think we're going to get sprinklings of X-Men throughout the next phase of movies. I think they're going to introduce like an X-Men here, an X-Men there, but the X-Men as a team, I think we're going to get in its own movie, and I don't think there's any tonally appropriate X-Men, but obviously there's 500 X-Men. Maybe one can pop up in Spider-Man, but I doubt there's going to be any sort of X-Men Spider-Man combo in Spider-Man 3.
So here's first off, I agree with you about the lawyer situation. I don't see them introducing Charlie Cox. I don't know if the rights are up yet by Netflix to use Matt Murdock. So I'm not sure of that. But I was absolutely, when you said it, I was already writing it down. If you use a lawyer, you use Jennifer Walters because she goes right into that She-Hulk series, like you said. It is the perfect thing. She does not have to be She-Hulk. She is just Jennifer Walters. That is all you need. That name lets you know exactly where this is going. And yeah.
And I hadn't thought of that until they said Daredevil. So full credit to that rumor, because I was like, wait, this is what I do. So full credit to this week's epiphany, but I can't see Charlie Cox popping up.
I definitely agree with you with the lawyer situation, because I was thinking about it. When they said how Spider-Man 3 is literally Peter trying to prove he's not Spider-Man with this whole Jonah Jameson thing. And I was like, well, he's going to need a lawyer. And I thought about it like, Netflix still has the rights to the characters, so Marvel can't do anything just yet. So who else do they use? Well, who's another lawyer in the MCU? The lawyer is She-Hulk, but it's not She-Hulk at the time, it's Jennifer Walters. So she's a lawyer, and she becomes She-Hulk in the beginning of her series. You don't make her She-Hulk in this, because it's going to be real fucking weird. Now, all of a sudden, there's a big green-ass lawyer. You know what I'm saying? We already got a big green smart Hulk. So,
it's great to have more time to live with Jennifer Walters so you care about the character when you meet her in She-Hulk. I think it's great, and it ties Marvel and Sony back together. I think it's a win for everybody.
And then, when it comes to the X-Men, I personally don't think we'll see the X-Men for a while at all. I don't even think we'll see sprinkles of them. What I do think, and I still stick by this, I believe that the Eternals is the jump-off point for mutants. I literally believe it, because you can use the Eternals, the situation with the snap, and it sets up mutants in the world today. I really think that's the case. The X-Men will, I do agree, though, they will sprinkle in later, but I don't think we'll get them that soon.
Yeah, I think it's going to take many movies to build them up, and I think that's the smart way to do it. And I think it's either going to be an M of House thing, or it's the opposite of House of M, and Wanda says mutants, or it's going to be through 10,000 years of evolution. Hey, how convenient. We've got a movie with 10,000 years of evolution. So, yeah, I agree. It's going to be one of those two ways, but I don't think we'll see them as soon as fighting.
And remember, I think the fact that with the snap, we think, it goes through all of reality. We don't know, because, of course, he has the time stone. It might go through all of time as well.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun to discover what continuity is.
Right, it's going to change. That snap changes so much. So as far as Black Widow, I think Black Widow will mess up the timeline for Eternals? Absolutely not. I think Marvel will say once the world looks like it's okay, they'll start throwing shit back to back real quick, like boom, boom, get it out. Marvel has no problem with, we've had a month gap. I don't think that month gap will be a big issue right now. People will be ready to flock to theaters like you were saying earlier. So I think we do it. I think if they don't do it behind Eternals, because like you brought up how it being a prequel is not a major thing, and it all depends on the post-credit scene of Black Widow, yeah, we could see a 5 Marvel movie year.
It'd be insane. Like, truly.
I mean, they've been pushed. Look, again, we're getting 4. They already said we're getting 4 movies, right?
Yeah.
Marvel has tested they've shown, look, if we do these movies, people are willing to see it. Remember, the last time we had a movie before Endgame was the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And it did fine. And that was before all this hype. Like, I think the hype of delaying it might help it, and we're going to have all the Disney Plus shows at the same time. Like, it's going to be a Marvel thing every month as is, maybe more.
Right, we're not going to go without.
Yeah, we're not hurting, ever.
So Tyler, I want to thank you for your call for that. Now, let's go to some of the emails that I have right now. First question is from Joe Zantic, and Joe says, "Hey Jay, Joe from the Philly area again, and I got 2 questions for you. You mentioned in the most recent episode how you believe Taskmaster is likely a one-and-done villain, and I agree they feel that way. So my question is in regards to that. Given the serial nature of the comic books these movies draw from, why do you think the superhero movies in the MCU specifically haven't taken to the trope of villains not dying, but being defeated, captured by the heroes, even for the possibility of bringing them back at a later point? I thought the Incredible Hulk did well, but then for reasons, distribution rights, we never saw or heard from Abomination or the leader again. Taskmaster specifically feels like he'd be a good returning villain to be for hire to be used by other villains, much like in the comics. It just seems odd considering the MCU does like long-term storytelling. And my second question isn't quite related to that. I'm pretty sure you've seen the images of the bat suit for the upcoming Batman movie. Why is Hollywood obsessed with always making it a black armored outfit as opposed to that awesome dark blue and gray costume in the comics? I know it's all preference, but seeing a super ripped Robert Pattinson in a tight spandex outfit would be more impressive than a guy in a bulky armor. That plus all the cosplayers have made the classic costume look amazing. Gives me belief that it's not hard to do, so what are your thoughts on it? Thanks again, and I hope you're staying safe and washing your hands, staying safe, and washing your hands in these times and all times. Joe. That was a long email. Thank you, Joe. So, why do superhero movies taking up the tropes of villains not dying? Because I think because of the Marvel's continuity, the MCU's continuity, you can bring them up. You can bring them back later eventually. And yeah, with Abomination, we all know what the deal is. That's universal. So yeah, I would have loved to see the leader more. I would have loved to see the Abomination. So I think it's just that, certain villains are like, all right, we have no long-term plans for them. We have no long-term goals for them.
I think there's enough Marvel villains that you can have a villain of the week thing with the movies, and that's what they're doing. Is like, I think about every time a new movie's announced, they're like, who's the villain going to be? And there's 30 villains listed because fans want to see so many villains. I think it's more about seeing the villains, like, rotating through them so we can have them, than it is about them actually dying. I also think that there's going to be a certain show on Disney Plus in the next 5 years that's going to bring a lot of them back by the name of Thunderbolts. I think a lot of these villains that people like are going to come back together as a team and pretend to be good guys really, really soon. So I think that's what's going to... I think Thunderbolt Ross and a bunch of other characters that we've had for a long time are going to unite a government team that's going to be a bunch of villains turned fake heroes, and it's going to be really interesting.
And then what that will introduce is the Red Hulk. I'm guaranteeing if that happens. And
I heard we have the Red Hulk real soon.
And so also... why is Hollywood obsessed with making a black armored outfit as opposed to the dark blue and gray costume in the comics? I think it's easy. You want it to be realistic and down to earth. And let's just be honest, if somebody really decided to become a vigilante, they're not going to make a spandex suit.
Yeah, the spandex is just like, when you go down Hollywood Boulevard and you see someone in a spandex suit, that's not fear.
It's not. It doesn't invoke any fear of it. Yes, Spider-Man's suit is a giant wetsuit, but at the same time, he has the strength and the speed to move to avoid certain things. If you don't have that,
power set.
What'd you say?
That's his power set. His power set involves spandex because he's agility. Like, the character itself is agile, and the way he moves is important. And Spider-Man's a kid. He's not trying to put fear in anybody. A kid would have a spandexy suit.
Right.
There's a reason we had the jokey Captain America suit in First Avenger that was so spangled, because it was a symbol of something cheesy. And they use it really well. I love the cheesy Cap suit as meant to be propaganda. That was brilliant. But you can't have Batman be in a propaganda gray spandex suit when he's trying to be like, I'm a billionaire and I'm striking fear in you.
Also, he gets shot at more than any other superhero we've ever seen.
He's just a dude.
People are consistently shooting at Batman left and fucking right. So I get what you're saying, Joe. I get, the cosplayers have made it look good, but you have to think of, they want you to suspend your disbelief as far as if a person in real life decided to do this, what would they wear? And if a person literally decided to suit up as a vigilante, I know we see sometimes in TV shows that because the person doesn't have the money, it's just a pair of dark cargo pants or sweatpants or leggings and a hoodie, whatnot. That's what would happen. But if they had the money and the resources, of course it'd be armored up.
And you know what I wanted? I wanted a dark gray armor with a dark blue, like a dark blue cape. Like, that's what I wanted, was like a nod to Neil Adams suit. I wanted like a little tone.
Well, we got that a little bit in Justice League.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That would have worked. I think that would have been the balance to do. Once again, I agree with you. I get why they didn't, but that would have been the closest I think we ever would have got.
Also, you got to remember this too. Well, another reason too is why, it's a great little thing, but it's also like, hey, how does this play from year one to an evolving character? Yeah, he's black at first. This is what he starts out. This is year 2 Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be the infancy of everything. That's why everything looks the way it does. I think people got to remember that. This is not a Batman that we're going to see in The Batman that's been doing this at least 5-10 years. This is a Batman who just recently started.
I'm so excited for that movie, man. Like, the more I think about it, just like, it's like uncontainable hype.
All right, so appreciate your email, Joe. And let's go to another email I got from Andrew Dumont. Andrew says, hey, Jay, I was wondering if we ever get a live-action Green Arrow on the big screen. Do you think he could be cast as a black man? I always thought Oliver Queen's super liberal fighting for the little guy story would work more if he was a brother. Plus, there needs to be more black billionaires in comics. Appreciate everything you do for black nerds. Keep hustling, bro. From Drew. First of all, thank you, Drew. I appreciate that much. Everybody who knows me knows, like, yo, it's black nerds out here, and we don't get a chance to have a major platform. A lot of people have started YouTube channels, and a lot of people don't gravitate to them. And I'm grateful for all the platforms that I had that allowed me to generate and cultivate this fan base, that I can introduce people to newer people and introduce people to things that they didn't get a chance to talk to. And people now have a voice. Now people are like, oh, shit, I should listen to this person and that person. So thank you for that. As far as the Green Arrow being a black dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I never thought of that. And when you say it that way, like, yo, a super liberal fighting for the little guy and a black billionaire, that makes a lot of sense. Coy?
I'm not mad at it. I'm team this. That would give them some distance from Batman because they're very similar origin stories. They see the death of their parents differently and they use everything differently. But if you look at them just like on paper, similar origin stories,
they're the same person. They're the same person.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's why it was so funny that the CW was like, let's make Batman, but call it Arrow because of rights. And then when we bring in Batgirl, let's make a bunch of jokes like we pretended this was on purpose. But like that would give it some distance, and I'm down. Oliver Queen's a black dude. Into it.
Like, I agree with you. When I saw Arrow, I was like, yo, this is just Batman without it being Batman. Star City is just Gotham.
Oh yeah, dude, the League of Shadows, like they fucking made Batman. Like, and then Batgirl came out, and there was that whole crossover where they kept saying like, I thought Batman was a myth, and I was like, that's because of your legal team.
That's because of your legal team. Listen, thank you, Andrew, and thank you, everybody, for your emails and your calls. Again, please get them in. Your calls, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947, and your emails, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. That is everything we got for the week. Coy, bro, from the bottom of my heart, yo, thank you for taking time out of your already free-ass schedule.
Hey, I was going to go for a run at 1 o'clock. I pushed it. You know how important that is in quarantine. That's respect for the Mad Titan podcast, that is.
I appreciate it, bro. Go ahead and tell the people who don't know how to reach you, how they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CoyJandreau. You can find me on various internet channels when studios are safe to enter. You can find me at Comic-Cons when people can gather in groups of more than 2. And you can find me at the movie theater when they have the lights on, because I miss, oh my God, everything I do is shut down. But I can't wait for it to be back.
Oh, man, I appreciate
shit when the world was paused. Like, I just realized I've been doing phone podcasts, but I haven't been plugging shit. And that was the first time I thought out loud that every single thing I do for fun or work is not available.
Oh man, that sucks.
Oh yeah, I got a YouTube channel now, so find me on YouTube. I've been doing like a weekly show, like this old show I used to do that rhymes with heroes.
Okay, glad you did that, man. Glad I'm appreciate you being here with me. Hey, before I give you my plugs, make sure you rate and review this episode of the podcast wherever you're listening to it from. Please rate and review it. What that does is get to higher up in the algorithm, so more people see it and know about it. Yo, I'm trying to get this shit out to everybody, but I need you guys' help. I'm the one that records it. You guys got to tell the people. You got to be like, yo, you got to hear this shit. They get real nerdy and they keep it real. So that's what I need you to do. So you already know the drill, though. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. That's MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. That should be a simple thing. And join the Supervillain Squad. Join the Supervillain Squad on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. And thank you to all of the members of the squad. Here we go. Adelia Chamberlain, Alberto Rios, Akeem J. Brown, AZ Badfish, Blue 87 Jones, Brandon Buckingham, California Joe, Kasi Nachalobe, David Adams, DJ Snacks, Fanboy Cantina, Fred Castillo, Greg Morrissey, Hank Staley, James Smart, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, John Mariano, LK, Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Randy Constance, Rudy Rueda, Samir Tesfaye, Steve Tozen, and the Prince That Wasn't Promised. Thank you all for being a member of the squad. You guys can be a member of the squad too. It's only $1 to $5. And what does that do? Everybody like, yo, what do we get? You know how you see the videos and how I get to be able to now do more production stuff and give you guys better. And I'm about to put up a lot of my wrestling matches, stand-up clips. All that's going only on the Patreon. So you can be a member of the squad and check that out there. All right. Also, make sure you are following my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. And check out Blurs in the Hood with myself and Winston A. Marshall. We're live every Tuesday on the YouTubes. It's youtube.com/BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD. Coy, thank you a million, brother. I appreciate you so much. And for everybody else, I will be here next week. Faithfully now, because guess what? I don't have anything stopping my schedule and, interrupting shit. So, take care, guys. I'll holla. I'm out of here. Peace.